Hello everyone, this is Persephone, and after a lot of requests, I decided to try to make some of the videos with topics that you like long-term chastity, because YouTube really hates them, so we have to find a way to be proper and go around, not exactly the rules, but to make it YouTube friendly, okay? So, during the time that I was away and I wasn't making these videos, a lot of things have changed. And now I can say that as a femdom goddess, I'm more confident. I know myself better. I know what's best for you better. And the videos aim to make you empowered, okay? Because the biggest misconception in the femdom scene and on BDSM is that the more mindless you are, the less you decide about yourself, the better it is, which is not. And I'm going to be speaking here as an autistic person, no filter. So if you don't agree, just fine. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. So one of the biggest turn-offs for me is when someone says, oh, I want to surrender the entire control of my life to you and make you decide everything. And then that's a lie. And they're constantly disagreeing and having microaggressions about what I want to do. Like, for example, since we're talking about chastity, someone comes on Night Flirt, which is currently my primary site. I don't know for how long though that's going to be. And they say, I found you on YouTube and I want to try chastity with you. And I ask this person, have you ever tried it before? Because when someone has never done it, I like to escalate. I like to give a small goal and then build up from there. So my first goal is usually 24 hours. And it's usually in the weekend where the person has the privacy and usually they're not at work and they have less things to worry about because the first 24 hours are uncomfortable. And then they say, no, I want to be challenged. I want to obey you. I want you to tell me exactly what to do. And I'm like, okay, 1 week. And during this 1 week, I'm being paid to get sexually harassed. They're contacting me every 6 hours, every 8 hours, and they're saying, oh, it's so difficult. Are you there? What should I do? Is this how it's supposed to be? And then they fail. They unlock themselves, they block me, and then they come back 2 months later saying, oh, I'm really sorry. Can I try again? I want to just surrender control of my life to you. If that sounds extremely anti-sexual, it's because it is. So we're going to have to start these videos from the very basics because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm on very bad terms with around 80% of the so-called goddesses in the scene that I consider them scammers. I consider them very vile people. There are some geriatric mean girls there on Night Flirt on the forums, and they don't have your best interest in mind at all. So before you decide that you want to try chastity or any kind of fetish, I need you to ask yourself, is this really what you want? Do you really feel aroused when you watch videos with chastity content? Or is it maybe a pretext to get constant female attention? Because the other thing that I'm wildly allergic to is these electronic devices that they say, goddess, I need you to control me from a distance with the electronic chastity device, and basically I'm going to be messaging you for free every 10 or 15 minutes, asking you to unlock me and contacting you all day again for free. I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you need constant attention, okay? I believe that people have insecure attachment styles. I know enough psychology and psychiatry to understand that this is mostly a result of trauma or neglect or just being deprived. The problem is that this is not the right way to go about it. That just trying to throw money at the problem and pretending you're into a fetish and trying to take over someone's life like essentially a parasite is going to fail. And I cannot answer that for you. The first thing you need to try to do is establish communication and boundaries with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, if you don't know who you are and what you want, everything you do in life is going to fail. And femdom and BDSM in general are a lot more structured than they seem. And if you say, but shouldn't the dominant be doing the structuring? That mentality is going to give you exposure to a lot of predators who are going to take advantage of you. And also it's going to make you look like a turn-off. Because there is a thing called decision fatigue. Personally, I have to take thousands of decisions every day because of my presence in the social, a lot more than I had to do when I had a quote-unquote vanilla job, and because of my health. So if I have to take 3,000 decisions every day, despite trying constantly to establish routines, I don't want to have another 3,000 because of someone's life who operates under mental illness. So if I have people to choose from, and I always do, You know that femdom goddesses are high demand. I'm going to go for the person who knows themselves and knows what they want and make my life easier and pleasurable, and not for the person who is a needy mess. So let's say that you really want to try chastity, okay? That you really found out this kink and you're curious, and there are many people who always ask me, but what's the purpose of it, right? So a lot of people, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because there are pop-ups of adult content everywhere, they're addicted to it. I know people who spend hours watching at porn, 12 hours, 8 hours, or during the day they're constantly distracted. When you are locked in chastity, you can't do that. So that forces you to stop for a minute and realize what you're doing. You are not on trance, on autopilot anymore. And I had hundreds of subs over the years who messaged me, and when I asked them, do you have a problem with porn? Do you think that porn interferes with your productivity? They're like, no, I'm totally fine. I know myself. And then 1 week later after chastity, they were like, oh my God, goddess, I wasted 7 hours on this bullshit a day. So I believe that even if you don't have a problem, it's something that is worth exploring one time. And if it's not for you, you don't do it. The second thing is self-discipline. It's uncomfortable. It's delayed gratification. It gets easier over time, but the first times are not easy. So a lot of people who are instant gratification will also fail. Personally, I believe that self-discipline and ability to delay what you want is a necessary pillar of success, no matter how you identify or what you want to do. So you have to cultivate that. It's not a skill that you are born with. Maybe some people who had a great childhood have more than others, but still you have to work on it every day. I do too. Everyone does. And the third part is it a way for you to actually avoid sex and intimacy? Those were things that I didn't know some years before. That's why if you see my older videos, I don't mention them. So now that I have talked to several thousand more people and I'm comparing, kind of like unofficial research, I see that. I see people who are permanently locked in chastity in toxic femdom relationships, and they are just avoiding the problem. For example, I'm going to be mentioning real life examples from people that I know without mentioning like their real names, and I don't want to, violate their privacy. So there was someone who was agreeing to be in a cuckold relationship with his wife. This is another kind of worm, so a lot of these relationships are like doomed, but let's focus on the chastity part. So they decided to try chastity, and then they decided to open the marriage for her because he had some problems, that he had erectile dysfunction, he had premature ejaculation, he had porn addiction. His size was average, but when you have everything else, things become very hard in the bedroom. So they decided, the original agreement was that she is going to start going out with her friends on weekends who are single and try to hook up with guys and see how it is and if it's going to improve their marriage. For me, this thing is not going to improve your marriage, but again, they're both adults. And the agreement was that she's going to be unlocking him from chastity from time to time to reward him for his good behavior, because they had this dom-sub dynamic. But the thing is, once this woman started getting the sex that she really wanted from the other man, she started seeing having sex with him as something that it was boring. She didn't want to do it. So she started to prolong chastity more and more and more, and he was only allowed to talk to goddesses online about this. And I asked him, like, how do you feel about this? Do you want to be locked in chastity for 2 months straight, which is how long it was when he met me? And he said, no, I hate it. And I said, then why don't you stop? Why don't you just talk to her again to renegotiate your boundaries? And he said, I'm afraid that she's going to leave me. So that is a very toxic way to use chastity, and it's not sexy. And when I say these things, people hate me because that is passive abuse. I'm not saying that the woman should have sex that she didn't want, but they definitely needed to have a talk about it. Like, the situation is different. Are they never going to have sex again? Are they going to break up? Are they going to open the relationship in a way that he can also explore out of it? The important thing is that they needed to have a real talk, and he didn't want to have it, so he was hiding behind chastity. I don't say this to blame him or to shame him. I understand that when you are married to someone for many years, it can be wildly uncomfortable and scary, but unfortunately, you have to rip off that band-aid. So one of the reasons that I went through many stages with this scene and I had mental breakdowns and I had people harassing me at all hours, we're going to the more unpleasant part now, is that I had people who were using chastity as a Trojan horse to infiltrate my real life, which is something that is not okay, and it's not how real human relationships work. And if you never have a spare key, I don't even know if you are actually going to do it. Or let's say there is an emergency and you have to unlock yourself. There is a hospital emergency. You have to travel to the airport urgently. There is a metal detector. I can't live in stress that someone is going to ring my phone at 3 a.m. saying, oh, I desperately need my only key, so you have to send it. I don't do that, and people don't like it. And I always tell them, you have to find a local key holder. That is the safest and the best option. I have come to 3 possible solutions for your chastity problem, because there are so many people with problems, and I'm going to solve all of them. The first solution, let's start from the easiest, is to give up on the fetish. If something is extremely inconvenient and you can't find anyone to be your key holder and you can't stay locked because you have self-discipline problems, it's not for you, and that's fine. You can explore something else. The second solution is to work into finding a local key holder that you're going to be paying, compensating for that, which is again fine. Like I said, it's a paid service. I don't see it as something degrading, and you can get exactly what you want, and you can trust the person that they're not going to blackmail you, they're not going to neglect you, they're not going to abuse you. If they're a good professional, you're going to have the best experience and decide if the fetish is for you or not. And the third solution that is very convenient is to lock yourself up and rely on goddesses online. And that can also give you, I think, something pretty close to the real experience, as long as it's done for the real reason and the right reason, which is fetish exploration and not neediness. And now we're going to go to address the huge, massive elephant in the room. It's not even an elephant, it's a mammoth at this point. It's humongous. No other goddess will tell you this because they are all scammers, okay? They just want your money and they laugh about it behind your back on their femdom forums. Why can't you find women to be your key holder for free? Why can't you find a girlfriend to do it? Or why you have a wife and she's not interested in doing it? What are you going to do about it? There are several reasons for that. One reason is that people in life get away with as much as they are allowed to. So I'm going to say something now that sounds fairly misogynistic, but it's not. It's very difficult for me to tell you harsh truths in a nice way, so I'm just going to say it. A lot of women don't experiment with kinks because they don't have to, and because they are not raised to be interested in them. For the average woman, chastity, which is a very mild thing if you ask me, is something that is completely alien. They don't know it and they have no interest in it. I always like comparing sex and food because they have a lot of similarities. And if we go to a restaurant together, you and me, and we observe the people without them knowing that they're being observed, okay, that sounds kind of creepy, but you know what I mean. You're going to see people who walk into a restaurant and they order a steak, or they order what they have always been getting, which is the safe and predictable choice. And then you're going to see someone who is a tourist and he came and he's so excited, or she's so excited, and they want to try everything in the menu. And they say, oh my God, what is that? I've never tried it before. And they are going to be so happy to jump into it. Some people have exploration naturally inside them, but they're a minority. Most of them don't. And society, religions, and life in general rewards women for being vanilla and boring. Because male desperation is a thing. Despite the wall and incels and all of these things, a woman can throw a rock and get 10 guys to date her. If you make an account on social media, if you take a picture, I mean, I don't suggest doing identity theft. Let's say you pay for an AI service and you create a 4 out of 10 girl that is average looking in everything, and you make an Instagram account. You're going to be having 200 guys messaging her. So if this woman can choose from a big pool of candidates, and there are many guys who are happy with vanilla sex, which they are, why would she bother to learn about chastity, to experiment, to also expose herself into this type of intimacy that having control of someone's orgasm can make people uncomfortable, especially when they don't know you well? Why would she bother with any of that? Unfortunately, humans are wired for the path of least resistance. Another very sad reason is that the woman may not be into you. I believe, and every time I get crucified for that, whatever, human attraction fades. Your wife isn't into you, your girlfriend isn't into you, you have reached the swamp being called, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, so you find out chastity and you want to try it, and she doesn't want to. Trust me, if your favorite celebrity came and he told her, I love you, I'm going to marry you, like you're going to be my celebrity wife, but I have only one term, I'm into chastity, I need you to be my key holder, she would be ordering cages from Amazon. I know it sounds black pill, but as a woman, I have to tell you the truth. We're more visual than men. If you look into history, there are tribes where men were killed in wars and women just joined the enemy, as horrific as that may sound. I'm not going to even hide behind biology. There is biology that says that women and females in general choose the strongest males, but I'm just going to say it is what it is. We're not going to make it into a gender study video now. It's about chastity, so she may not like you enough to bother, or she may be boring, or I'm going to say the other thing. Okay, this is going to make me hate it, but again, these videos have to be useful. We cannot be regurgitating, oh my god, chastity this, chastity that in 2025. I can't. When it comes to me, I have realized that I have a thing that is the absolute deal breaker. Not just when it comes to femdom and chastity and subs, when it comes to the people in my life in general. Not just my friends or my lovers or my relatives or my hairdresser or whoever. If you're a human being, you cannot be living a pathetic, self-centered, selfish, low empathy, low IQ life and stay in my periphery. At best, if I desperately need money, I'm going to try to provide the best service that I can for you, take your money and then block you out of my mind. And trust me, I've been doing that with many people the 2 years that I wasn't on YouTube. Some people drive me nuts. And it's tea time, get some popcorn. So, there are specific people, I'm not going to mention which cam side and which side, because there are many sides, and also because I don't want them to identify themselves from this video, that they have only one fantasy, that is self-centered. There is someone who has a fantasy about being feminized. He's married, his wife is against feminization. And he is having sessions with me and communicating to talk about his fantasy. Because I'm a bisexual person, so the process of turning a beautiful man into a beautiful woman, or being non-binary, or being trans, I'm attracted to this type of person. And also I'm a perfectionist, so I have no problem discussing what eyelashes you're going to get, what panties, what diet are you going to follow, you sending me your progress with pictures and all that. I enjoy that. And I try to do things that we both enjoy always. First of all, because consent is important. And second, because when you love your job, it's not a job. You know that. Here is the problem with this person. It's the 3rd year that I know them. Okay. They haven't asked me a single thing about myself. I mean, they know a lot of things about me from YouTube, thanks to me oversharing the previous years. But come on, you are talking to someone every week. You are having sessions with them every week. Aren't you ever going to ask them like, hi, how are you? How is it going? Anything? Believe it or not, I didn't say anything to them because I wanted to see, when are they going to ask? Are they going to eventually catch up? Nope, they haven't. And it gets worse. They haven't mentioned a single problem in the world for the 3 years that I know them. Personally, recently, I found out, and I'm going to plug this into this video shamelessly because it's important, I found out that there are Chinese psychopaths who are torturing animals, especially cats, but other animals as well, on videos, and they upload the videos on Telegram and sell them. And that is something that has traumatized and upset me so much that I'm going to fight these subhuman monsters with everything that I have. That is my cause, and I'm going to call you into action now that if you want to be my sub, or if you like me, before you think about contacting me, before you think about booking a session, to first of all follow me on X, and second, share the video that I have pinned on my YouTube channel on the top to help feline guardians without borders. Because that is the most important thing that I want to fight for right now. And if you're a thinking human and you have nothing to lose, it takes 30 seconds, you can do it to help. But let's say that this wasn't your thing. let's say you care about people who are in a war zone, or male suicide, or depression, or human trafficking victims, or the environment being destroyed. I mean, the planet is on fire. There are a lot of things to worry about. Or do you even care about your online friend who is feeling horrible? Something. This person knows me for 3 years and they only talk about themselves. This is the most repulsive, narcissistic turn-off thing you can ever do to someone like me. Because I was raised by narcissists who are still preoccupied with themselves, although it's been decades, and it's so horrible. Especially coming from a man. I don't care if you are submissive or if you want to be feminized or whatever you have. You can't be this way. You can't be this way and expect me to like you and expect me to move in with you and expect me to appreciate you. What is this pathetic, hedonistic, self-centered existence? And I know that a lot of people, it's not necessarily their fault. Maybe you were raised to be self-centered. Maybe you are entranced from going on X all day and constantly being distracted by movies and TV series and news and stuff. But wake up. It's time to wake up. I think that a lot of people, especially in America, don't speak like that because it's considered very politically incorrect and it makes people feel bad. But I'm going to tell you, no one wants a self-centered, narcissistic bitch around, and your gender is irrelevant. So a lot of people in the past, when I was almost defeated, because now I'm never going to be defeated, I'm telling you, I would avoid these people because I couldn't be honest with them because I didn't even have the vocabulary to put into words what repulsed me. Now, if I could turn back time and talk to these people, I would say, you say you want me to move in with you for me to be your chastity key holder. And you want to text me, we aren't even dating, we aren't even like in a paid femdom relationship, we just know each other online. And you want to text me every 15 to 20 minutes for free to talk about your chastity. How insufferable are you going to be in real life? Do you really think that my life is so worthless, so empty, so void of any substance that I'm going to be talking about your chastity and examining it 9 hours a day on average, and this is a kink? This is not a kink. I will have to go checked up from a psychiatrist by extreme OCD that has to do with chastity, because that resembles the behavior of the mentally ill people who wash their hands 40 times a day until their skin is being peeled off. People who are from the West, especially from America, are being trained from a very young age. I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. You are being trained to not look in a mirror, to not have any self-awareness, to never take a minute to look at your examine your behavior from a third part's perspective. That if this was a movie, you would say, oh, is it normal for this guy to contact the woman every 20 minutes? Like, don't you just give her a break? Or don't you have anything else to do? Because when you have the time to contact me every 20 minutes, I also realize that you have no friends, that you have no job, and that there is something terribly wrong. And there are many, many, many people in the femdom scene who behave like that. Chastity is just the tip of the iceberg. So I'm going to tell you, it's time for things to change for you. It's time to start having self-discipline. It's time to have substance. And it's time to start working to make yourself better and to make the world a better place, because passive evilness is a thing. This piece of shit in China who are torturing the animals, they have been getting away with it. Thank God to the CNN who posted an article a month ago and I found out about it, because there are too many men preoccupied with their penis and with their misery and boo-hoo, I'm so sad I can't find a woman to put me in panties. Get some grip. If that's your only problem, consider yourself blessed, okay? Stop being unattractive. I don't care if it is performative empathy at this point. You have to get your shit together and start acting like a functioning human being in 2025. And from now on, because I'm extremely pissed that I was abused and many other women are abused, and instead of telling you the truth, yesterday I had another sub who told me my mistress suddenly retired. No, she didn't suddenly retire. What happened is that she can't stand you and the others anymore. She never did anything to help you. It's also your fault. Or she completed her financial goal and now she discards you because she just saw you as nothing but a wallet. But I'm not like that. For better or for worse, usually to my own detriment. So that's why I'm telling you these things. I don't think that a lot of people will listen, but I think that you should have the right to have agency over your life. So you want to keep going the way you're going, in denial, selfish, playing the victim, be my guest, but I can guarantee, I would bet my life that nothing will ever change for you. And that you have to understand that if you want the real thing, if you want the best thing when it comes to kings, either you need to have a lot of money, or you have to make a lot of money and make yourself attractive. And there is also a last solution. I had a sub, I'm going to make a video about it, who said that he decided to start paying character AI and create a mistress and have an AI as his key holding mistress. Before you say, ho, 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 we knew that all of you whores would be replaced by AI, fine by me. If you can do that because he's on the younger side, he's on his 30s, and you can have an AI mistress, go ahead. I support technology, and if it makes him happy, I want him to be happy. I don't see people as just wallets. So, okay, if he's paying an AI $20 a month, and that is much less than what I charge, that's fine, good for him. And when the technology continues to develop, I'm going to develop AI versions of myself, and I'm still going to be making money, so we are all happy here. So you have this last but not least solution of using technology. I use Kindroid AI, and there are people there. I know sis on Kindroid who have created mistresses who feminize them. You can try that too. One thing that it's completely self-destructive and self-sabotaging is to be extremely preoccupied with yourself, to play the victim, to look out of shape, to have no money, and to have infinite entitlement. I still don't know where these hillbilly Americans come from, and it's always Americans for some reason. I'm sorry that I sound racist. I don't want to be racist, but I think in Europe people are culturally raised, or in other countries like or in Asia, to realize that this is improper. But it seems that in North America and in Canada, there are also some Canadians that they're messaging me and they're planning how we're going to move in together, and sometimes they're not even asking me like, how are you doing this? How do you even know that I live alone? How do you even know that I'm not a serial killer? I don't know, talk about living in a bubble of safety or psychosis. New York especially looks like some kind of like open sky mental asylum. Everyone that I know from New York in fandom is cray-cray. Crazy as you don't want to know. Anyway, that's all for today. If you want to talk to me, you are also going to go through X, and I'm going to direct you from there to places where we can have compensated conversations, because I don't chat with people for free about their fetishes, because, well, blame late stage dystopian capitalism, and also because I have to talk to the other activists about what are we going to do about the cats. So unless you become a cat activist, you are not going to be entitled to free time from me. Thank you for watching.